everyone, and welcome to a special edition of Inside Sports. I'm your host, Todd Blackstock. Today, we have on a Zoom interview the outstanding, I'm going to say outstanding, longtime commissioner of the Missouri Valley Conference, Mr. Doug Elgin. And Doug, thank you very much for spending time with us today. I know it's been a really busy time for you in the Missouri Valley.
Oh, it has been, but I always appreciate the chance to interact with you, Todd, and thanks for having me on.
I tell you, I think I met you about, 20 years ago or so. I remember going to a press conference with the St. Louis Sports Commission, and Mark Schreiber was speaking about the upcoming women's Final Four here in St. Louis. And that was quite a long time ago, and a lot of great things have happened since then.
Oh, sure have. I've been here 33 years. I've got a senior staff with me that three have been with us 30 years or more. Patty Viverito, 38 years. Mike Kern, 31 years. I think Jack Watkins is heading into his 30th year. So been very fortunate to have a staff and such great continuity on that staff.
Now, when you became the commissioner 33 years ago, things were a little bit different in St. Louis. I believe you were playing towards the tail end of the Kiel Center.
I think one of the really important steps that we took when I got here is moving our tournament to St. Louis. Got the Arch Madness moniker with the name of the tournament. Brought it to Kiel. We played the last event ever in Kiel Auditorium. That was the first tournament here. And the next year we moved into the old Checker Dome, the St. Louis Arena, and played 3 years there. But I think when our tournament really took off, Todd, was when the Enterprise Center, what is now the Enterprise Center, opened. Then the Kiel Center in 1995, and from that point on, it really grew, and we were able to attract fans, and that really was due to the caliber of play of the student athletes and the caliber of the coaches.
You know, the caliber of play and the student athletes have been outstanding. I mean, the support each year, you know, it seems like it's gotten better. I guess Savas Center, then the Scott Trade Center, now Enterprise Center, along with help of the St. Louis Blues and the St. Louis City, have really kicked in and really turned that building. And it was a great building, but then after 20 years, it weathers a little bit. And I know you guys were really excited about the improvements going on over at the new Enterprise Center. And I know that's a number 1A facility right now, regionally as well as nationally.
New generation building, Todd, and prior to the upgrades that they put into it, about $80 million worth of upgrades, we would not have been competitive for future NCAA tournaments. And really, the experience we had here in St. Louis led us to be able to attract other events. The Dome opened, and that gave us access to Final Fours. We had the 2005 Final Four there, men's Final Four. We've had two women's Final Fours at what is now the Enterprise Center. And couldn't be happier with the run that we've had here with our tournament and with the many NCAA tournaments that we've brought to town in hand with the Sports Commission.
Last year, we were glad that we got the Arch Madness Missouri Valley Conference tournament played here in St. Louis. It was a wonderful tournament. But something happened. At the end of the tournament, St. Louis was about to host a couple of NCAA events. Yeah. Division I men's basketball. And I remember talking to some of your staff, and they were pretty confident that the NCAA events were going to occur after a great Arch Madness tournament. But I remember seeing an NBA player coughing jokingly into microphones in a press row before interviews, and all of a sudden that individual turned up with COVID. All of a sudden things started getting shut down, and all of a sudden the devastation of our two events being canceled here economically, and then the COVID situation became forefront, and safety became a huge concern.
When the second NBA player on the same team came down as a positive test, the dominoes began to fall. We were in Moline with our women's tournament. We had to cancel that at the last minute. Everybody was in place. The teams had already arrived. And when you saw the high major basketball tournaments canceling, everybody wondered, will they cancel March Madness? And they certainly did. And that was a devastating blow to college athletics.
And we were talking, a few days ago, perhaps, about the economic impact of Arch Madness. And in a way, we were lucky to get that tournament in. It seemed like everything was unscathed. with that tournament. But can you describe the impact that if we would have lost Arch Madness would have happened to the league in St. Louis? And then maybe give us your perspective about how bad it hurt our economy in downtown with the NCAA events being canceled here.
Well, had we not played the tournament, considering the revenues that we get from television, from our multimedia rights partner, Learfield Sports, and from the tickets sold at the gate, we probably would have lost in excess of $1 million on that event. Certainly, we've always turned up with a lot of people staying in hotels. The hospitality industry, Explore St. Louis, really benefits from us bringing events like this to town. And certainly, we were very fortunate. We were one of the last events to be played nationally before the COVID really shut down sports. And we really felt fortunate. That was our 30th anniversary tournament here in St. Louis. We just felt truly fortunate to get through that and play that in its entirety.
What impact do you think not playing the 2 NCAA games had to St. Louis?
Well, the economic impact on that, we've had so many events here, and Patrick Risch, who is a local sports economist, probably, again, you can pick any number you want, but that probably would have been in excess of, I would think it would go to 10 million or more, considering the crowds that would have been here. 10
million or more, and then you look at how the whole NCAA tournament throughout the United States and all the different conferences were affected. We're probably talking billions of dollars, considering all those games, and then the ones with no fans.
Well, when they canceled March Madness, it ended the possibility of getting media payments, and I think the total cost, the total loss in revenues with the NCAA, I think there was a $400 million reduction in distribution to conferences and institutions by the NCAA.
Wow, that's quite a blow. And then now this year with football, a lot of teams aren't having fans. The Missouri Valley is also aligned, not with only basketball, but you guys have a sidebar football conference as well that does a great job. How's that been affected?
Well, they canceled most of they canceled their conference season for this fall, and I have nothing to do with the football. That's Patty Viverito, who oversees that, and the Pioneer Football League, also out of our office. They're going to move those games to the spring, delay them until the spring, and try to play a 6, 7, 8 game schedule. And certainly, you've seen some of the conferences that had previously canceled their fall football reopen it. Big Ten is one that's done it. The Pac-12 has done it. Big 12 never canceled, but I think the ACC also brought back football. And it's encouraging to see so many games being played. There have been some interruptions. There have been positive tests at some of the schools that play those games. But I do think that we are committed as an industry to playing the basketball season. Missouri Valley is doing everything in its power to do so and do so safely. The safety and health of our student athletes and everyone who supports it and interacts with the teams is certainly a priority. And I think our people are going to do everything they can to make sure that it's conducted safely.
With live streaming and television packages available, fans will be able to see games, perhaps not in person. I think we've seen some pro and college teams, high school, bringing fans in kind of at the lower level, families and smaller groups. And with that being said, one of your great achievements with the Missouri Valley Conference was helping the television package that you've helped garner and negotiate, and that's pretty big for the Missouri Valley and basketball here in the Midwest.
Well, our institutions and the conference will together produce more than 800 live events in each of the next 4 years. We've been over 700 events in the previous 2 years. And I think bringing our tournament here enabled us to kind of elevate our game, so to speak. We were able to get our championship game on CBS. And I remember when Dick Enberg strolled into the arena, it really felt like we had reached a new level. But that's helped us. We have a great national contract with ESPN. Sinclair Broadcasting, which purchased the Fox Regionals, is going to be doing games for us this year. And we do a ton of games. CBS Sports also will take on their sports network about 12 or 15 games out of our men's package. And, our campuses are very, very efficient in producing live events that are on the linear channels, the ESPN3 and other ESPN networks.
So, Doug, recently, this kind of came out of nowhere for me. After 33 years, you've announced that you'll be stepping down as commissioner of the Missouri Valley Conference. What kind of preceded you? I know a lot of people this year are going into retirement, and for some reasons. But what's your reason for wanting to step down?
Well, I think when you're turning 70 in the early part of next year, you begin to think about time and family. I have together, my wife and I have 6 daughters in the area, 8 grandchildren. I thought it was time, and the transition will give us an opportunity. Announcing it now for the June 30 departure that I'll have gives our President's Council time with the national search firm to get a good candidate pool and hire a great leader to lead the Valley down the road.
I saw that, and it was pretty interesting. I'm thinking, there's 2 or 3 pretty good candidates in your office. Is a national search needed to spending all that money when you have a Patty Viverito, a Mike Kern, and a Jack Watkins in-house? Or will they be happy to stay in their spots and make the new commissioner's job so much easier and a smooth transition?
Well, I think Greg Walter is another another person on our staff who could also be a candidate. But I don't think I think that the President's Council really felt that a national search was probably the best path to follow. They will they're going to probably do interviews during the State Farm Missouri Valley Tournament next spring, and however it turns out, I think they'll get a really tremendous candidate that they can elevate to the position.
So this last year for you is kind of like your swan song, and I know you're going to be enjoying every bit. You're probably being inundated with interview requests and things like that. Do you have any favorite moments over the years, some of the big tournaments? Because each year is a new Cinderella story. You've had some great programs come in here and then move on. Then you've had some new ones come in and become quite successful after a few years. What are your favorite, moments of being commissioner?
Well, if you look at men's basketball, it would have to be 2 women's teams that have gone on to Final Fours, and they were both Southwest Missouri State and Missouri State, obviously. On the men's side, Wichita State went to a Final Four. Loyola Chicago also went to a Final Four most recently. And that, to me, was one of the more historic runs by any team in Division I basketball. They won the first 3 games of the tournament by a total of 4 points. And they overwhelmed Kansas State in the Elite 8 game. They led by 25 points at one point in that game to go to the Final Four in San Antonio. And that was just a really joyous moment for all of us. And really, when you look at the quality of competition across the board in athletics in our league, baseball, softball, men's and women's soccer, women's basketball, men's basketball, I mean, it's amazing what this conference has done to compete in postseason play. And if you look at men's basketball here in St. Louis, we've had 39 victories against teams by our men's basketball teams in tournament play, leaving St. Louis, getting into the NCAA tournament.
So how proud of you, before we let you go, are you of your staff, the city and the region all coming together and supporting the Missouri Valley so strong over these last 33 years?
Oh, I think it's been terrific. It's been a great run for me, and I couldn't have asked for a better fit for my skill set and experience coming in here. Our senior staff has done just an awesome job down through the years. Fan base has been supportive when we brought events here, and just can't say enough about how good I feel about where we are as a conference and what it looks like down the road in our future with what we'll do to compete down the road.
I want to thank you for the great access you've given us over the last 20 years of Inside Sports. It's my 20th anniversary this year doing the show, and you guys were, each year, that month, we've always, carved out a spot for such a great basketball tournament. And we appreciate everything you've done for us, and you know, I guess all the access you've given us over the years of the coaches, players, and your staff.
We're glad to have that you have followed us so closely, Todd, and we just really have a good feeling as I get ready to hang it up next year.
All right, Doug, thank you very much for joining us here on Inside Sports. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right, that's Doug Elgin on this special edition of Inside Sports. He's retiring at the end of the year, so we expect a wonderful year and a lot of great memories of your tenure. I'm Todd Blackstock. Thanks for watching Inside Sports on STL TV here in St. Louis.